All right, hey everybody, Scott here, and today's tip is going to be about list type. When you're setting up a list, you have to select list type. It's at the very bottom of the list rules when you create a new list or when you're editing a list, and it gives you the ability to choose how leads are accepted into the system. Okay, so the first things first, if you choose import, it simply means the leads have gone through all the filters, all the checks, all the rules that you have above. It's in the right country, or it's not a duplicate, past validation, whatever. Any of those, it has passed all of them, and as soon as it's passed them, it's accepted into the system to be used, now, a week from now, a year from now, whatever. Priority and bidding are different, but there's one major similarity, and the similarity is that a lead is rejected if the list is set up as priority or bidding. A lead comes in and there's no client, there's no destination, there's nowhere to send the lead. The lead is then rejected. Okay, so import, typically I would recommend that you use that on lists that you're getting from a partner via rev share, for example, where you want to consume as many leads as you possibly can. On your own personal offers, where the settings might be a little bit more loose because you want to bring in as much as you possibly can when they're your forms, your landing pages, and everything else. Now, priority and bidding, and I'm going to show you this in a second as far as the visual, but priority and bidding allow you to manipulate, what clients are prioritized over other clients. So in a bidding situation, it'd be obvious. In the priority orders, you have the ability to cascade, or what we call the waterfall, and how the system will look to review who is going to get looked at first, second, third, and fourth. So that's how you decide. But the most important thing to remember is import means it just passed all the rules. Priority and bidding, there has to be a client order in place to accept the leads. Now, obviously, if you're selling leads or you're brokering data, priority and bidding are a great way for you to acquire leads and never pay for a lead unless you have a client or a destination for that lead. So that gets used quite often. So import, priority, bidding, that's where you choose it. All right, but when you are creating client orders that you want to match, or that you want to have coincide, bidding, again, obvious. This is a scenario where all of the orders are reviewed simultaneously. So for example, if it's a solar lead and there's one client that has one zip code and it's just it's a crazy payout, you will always want that zip code. You always want that client and that zip code reviewed first, and that's exactly what bidding will do. Now, priority will give you that cascade effect that I just mentioned, where you'll have the ability to decide, okay, I want client A to get looked at first, then client B and C and D. If client A doesn't take the lead, check client B, or position 2 and 3 and 4. So the one thing that I will mention down here is if this if they're your landing pages, your offers, and you want to make sure that no leads hit the floor or get rejected, a lot of people that use Listflex will have a catch-all down here, an in-house client order that basically accepts any lead if none of their clients or destinations that they were sending the lead to accepted it. Okay, and then imported, is just what we had talked about as far as import, and that's a scenario where you can have the leads come out as the leads leave the system as they come in, or you can put them on delays. There's a bunch of really cool kind of features and functionality that you can do there. So that's the difference. When you're setting up a list, you'll have lists coincide with orders. If you set up a list to be a bidding order, you'll have bidding, if you set up a list to be a bidding list, you'll need to create client orders that are bidding orders. And same with priority. Okay, and under the import scenario, if the lead's accepted, you can send it out now, later, or whatever. And that rule also applies to priority and bidding. If you bring in leads into your system under a priority or a bidding scenario where you have clients take it as it comes in, well, that lead's now in the tank. So you could theoretically create a new client order to scoop up that lead later. If you want to sell it or move it or send it somewhere a day later, a week later, whatever, you'd set it up as a live feed under the imported tab here. So that's the difference. It's one of the, like I said, it's one of the most common questions, setting up lists and having orders coincide with those. So if you have any questions on that, just reach out to us. We're happy to help, and I'll see you soon.